everyone, and welcome to the Dynamic Entrepreneurs. I'm your hostess, Jenny Edwards, and today I have a really fun and incredible guest, Alison Donaghey. Hello, Alison.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. This is so much fun hanging with you again. This is cool.
Woo! I'm so excited.
Me too.
Now, this is an inspiring woman. For those of you that have not met her, I just want to tell you a little bit more about Alison. She is an international best-selling author, an entrepreneur, and a podcast host. And she is known for challenging people to reflect on new points of view, as well as having a natural gift to be able to hold space for both sides of a conversation without bias, without judgment, or opinions. She really ignites the curiosity in people to think about the mental constructs they have built within their lives so that they have, but allow them to move past those. So she's created a movement called #MyPart, which I'm sure she'll be sharing more too. And she's encouraging the world to defy their belief systems around victims and victimizers. And I love the fact that you really help people step into like true empowerment and just really shifting humanity. So I'm so excited to have you here, Alison.
This is a treat to be here. And, you know, it's Remembrance Day here in Canada. And so this was sort of my one thing on the day to look forward to when it comes to work. And I was like, yay!
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great week for that too. Because we're recording it. Today's Veterans Day, but I'm like, I'm celebrating this, all week. And since this is our launch week, and it's really good vibes. So
yeah, it's good. You picked a good week.
So tell us more about what you do, Alison.
Well, my company's called Domino Thinking. And so essentially it started because I wanted to challenge people to think about what they think about. And because I don't think we do that, back in the day when there was more time on our hand, I think we've reflected a lot more on our situations, on our beliefs, that sort of thing, how we connect with people. But now life has just gotten so busy that when we do have a moment to pause, we're on our phone. We are no longer ruminating. And so we're not thinking about what we think about anymore. And then what happens is we get super polarized. And it becomes us and them. And I really have a hard time when we start compartmentalizing people because that separates us. And the only hope for humanity is for us to start getting connected and caring about each other, even the people we disagree with. And then from that, I started a movement called My Part. And I have a course around it. And it's really about understanding our internal worth. And I believe worthiness is the underlying foundation for absolutely everything. Every choice we make is based in our sense of worthiness. So either we have intact internal worth or we're trying to get our worth from someone else. And if we do that, we put ourselves in a really precarious situation.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I look at all of these, even my daughter who's 3 and, talking about just the differences of how people look based on where they're from and they're, around the world. But I am encouraging her to it's not about us looking different. It's about the things that bring us together, the similarities that we have.
Yeah.
So we have to start instilling this from a young age, right?
Yeah. And we have no problem with certain things being different. We have no problem with our jeans being different than our yoga pants, being different than our dress, right? And yet when it comes to human beings, we have a real problem with people being different.
Yeah. Wow. It's really fascinating when you kind of stop and take a look at it, psychologically and
it's huge. Well, when we are trying to get our worth from somebody else, we actually become victims. Because if I'm sitting here going, I need Jenny to like me, and then you say something that I construe as you not liking me, all of a sudden I feel bad about me. I feel bad about you. But yet if my worthiness is intact and I don't need it from you, then if you say something that might be off colored, I have no reason to get offended. I just get to say, hey, what did you mean by that?
Yeah.
It's different conversation.
Yeah. Wow. That's true. So what was it did something happen in your life that made you feel compelled to create this kind of work for
Mm.
others?
Yes. Well, I've been coasting along happily in my other business, and I started doing some speaking events about, because I have a business in the trades. And so I started talking about women in the trades and how important it is for anybody to have a trade under their belt. And then I was asked to give a speech about a different type of topic, like more of a sociological, societal type topic. And so I did. And then a friend said, oh my God, you need to do more of this. And then so I did, and it was just about challenging thoughts. And then last January 2018, I gave a speech called My Part, where I talked about when I was raped in high school. And it wasn't until I understood how I co-created it. Now, this is without shame or blame or letting him off the hook or thinking I deserved it or what he did was okay. None of that stuff, but just stepping back and objectively looking at it and went, whoa, I made this choice and this choice and this choice. And I didn't want to make any of those choices, but I was trying to get my worth from somebody else. And I wanted to be popular, and I didn't want people to laugh at me or make fun of me or any of that stuff. And so I went along to get along. And as a result, I ended up getting raped. If any step of the way I had made a different choice, that would not have happened. It may have happened to somebody else, or it may have happened to me in a different way. Like, I don't know, but that particular incident wouldn't have happened. And so I gave this speech, and once I understood that I co-created it, I stopped being his victim in that moment. And so people reached out to me after the speech and said, hey, how do I do that? And I went, oh, like everybody doesn't do that? And so then the more people I talked to, the more refined it became. And then I just went, I need to put a course together around this. Like there is a simple way for us to become empowered. There is simple ways for us to connect with our worthiness and rely on other people less for it. And so the course was born, and the rest is history, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a message that people needed to hear.
Yeah, I think so. We live in this world where it's not my fault. Look at what that other person is doing. And we see it around
Blaming.
feminism. We see it around our education system. We see it in our politics. Like, it permeates everything. And we forget that we are miracles. Like, look at this little baby that's growing in your belly. Like, that is crazy. Because you had sex, you now have this baby. Like, that
Right?
makes your baby a miracle, which makes it inherently worthy. Your baby could have been 1,000 other options, right? Depending on which sperm got there fastest. and yet your baby is the one that's going to survive and thrive and come through this whole sperm egg ordeal. And then we're born, and the world tells us we're not good enough. And we believe it. Hollywood tells us that we're not pretty enough, we're not strong enough, we're not tall enough, we're not blonde enough, we're not, whatever. Our lips need to be bigger, our boobs need to be bigger, our butt needs to be smaller. And so there's all of this stuff around it. We don't have much hope in holding on to our worthiness. So even when people are trying to support us, come on, I know you can do better. If you just applied yourself, I know you could do like amazing things. They're coming from a place of trying to be supportive, but we take it as, I'm not good enough. Right. So when we can start rectifying that, when we can get back to that miracle place, it changes everything.
The miracle place. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, and you can probably think of some times in your life where you have created, maybe this kind of, self-talk that's popping up from somebody that's been in your life that has told you these things, and consciously choosing how you react to it or how you choose to shift, like what Alison was saying, and, go from the victim, the whole conversation, just changing that conversation.
Yeah. And the other important part too is seeing all of yourself, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. So those parts of yourself that maybe snap at your children or dismiss your spouse or gossip about a coworker or whatever, that's still all part of who we are. And when we try to suppress that and pretend it doesn't exist, it actually gets louder. So when that part of us comes up, if we can say, hey, I see you, what is going on right now? Then we can actually have a conversation with that part of ourselves, and then we're honoring ourselves, and that's empowerment.
Wow. That's cool. I
And
like that. That's a really good exercise too.
yeah,
But it definitely takes a lot of consciousness to do that.
it
Just
does.
stop and and like appreciate, okay, this is a learning experience and a way to shift past that.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah. And knowing there is no end game, like there's no end of the line. There is no, I have arrived. There's that finish line. All right. I am completely victim free and 100% worthy. It doesn't work that way. I wish I could say it could, but it doesn't, because the layers of our damage goes so deep. In ways that we don't even know or can't even grasp. And so we're always going to feel bad about something or fall into a victim state or point a finger at someone. But the more we practice on being aware of it and stopping it, having those conversations with ourselves, seeing ourselves, they become less and less and easier to catch and easier to manage.
That's good. Okay. That's good food for thought. So you obviously have done some really great things to monetize your message. You have done the, the podcast, you have your podcast, you've got, book, and you're doing a lot of dynamic things. And so tell us more, like if somebody's watching this right now and they really aren't sure where to begin, or how do they up level their message? How do they make money from it? Like, what would be your insights for that?
Well, clarity is key. That is the hardest point of being able to go, this is what I stand for. When we can do that and we can get really crystal clear about it, then we can build something on that. But this whole, I'm going to serve everybody and I want to help the whole world. And maybe you can help the whole world, but you have to start with one section at a time. And so, for example, right now with the My Part course that I do, it really seems to be attracting a lot of people in separation and divorce. And so that's what we're focusing on right now. Can anybody take the program? For sure. And that's the beautiful thing about when you get specific about what you want. Other people are going to come in, but get really, really clear on what it is. And then your people will find you. That's
awesome. Get really clear, really focused.
Yeah.
And then what would you advise that, the kind of strategy that you've done that has gotten the best results for actually monetizing it?
So for monetizing, one, get a coach. That's your first, you got to spend money to make money. Get a really good coach. There are so many great ones out there. Do your research. Don't pick somebody sleight of hand, and don't decide in the moment to sign up. I always say sleep on it for 2 days. And then make a decision. And if that coach is saying to you, oh, you have to sign today, you have to make that commitment today, then maybe they're not the right coach for you. But get really clear on the type of coach you want, and then find a coach to help you with that. And then consistency. Whatever your platform is, just do it consistently over and over and over again. And just treat people like they're humans. Because they are, right? They're not a dollar figure. They're not even they're not an extension of you. They are their own being with their own experiences and their own problems and their own worldview. And when you can start to see them, then you can start to serve them. But if you can't see your client, you're never going to be successful with it.
Yeah. See them and be compassionate.
Yeah. I do an exercise. I have it in my book, and it's called What's the Worst? And do you want me to share this?
Yeah.
It's quite quick, but it's like this ninja trick. Imagine you're in the restaurant and you overhear somebody talking about you and your business. What is the worst thing you can hear them say? And I own a house painting company. So if somebody said she's not the best painter in town, I'd go, ouch. But if they said she doesn't give value, I would be devastated, because that is such a core value of mine. I would actually have to stop what I was doing, go over there and say, excuse me, you're talking about me right now. How do I fix this? Because it is that important to me. And so it's different for different people. For some people, like if it was somebody that made violins, they probably wouldn't care if people didn't feel like they were nice, right? Or were good business people, but they might care if somebody said they did not make the best violin. Like if that is their thing, to put the best violin on the market, that is the worst thing somebody could say, that it wasn't a good one. So what is that? And then when you know what that is, that should permeate your business.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's really
every
good.
single system I have in place goes back to value, because I
Mhm.
don't ever want to hear somebody say I don't give value. And I don't want to deal with people who settle for less. Yeah.
Ooh,
Hmm.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like teaching a lot about values too, because it's like
Mm.
that's the message that you share. If you're really in touch with your own core values,
Yeah.
then obviously using that in your marketing so that you can attract the people that are in alignment with that. And if
Yeah.
somebody's not in alignment with that, don't waste your time on them.
Recommend somebody else to them.
Yeah.
That's a great gift to give somebody. I'm not the right person for you, but I know somebody that you might really resonate with. Like,
Yeah.
how honest and authentic that is. And it boosts your worthiness. If you're in a space where you can turn away a client and give them to somebody else with love, that tells yourself that you're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's those simple steps that we take that boosts our worthiness. And so it can incorporate anything. But it also gives you a really clear vision on how to make decisions in your business as well. Like for
Mhm.
me, if something comes along and it's great and it's shiny and sparkly and everything, but it doesn't provide more value, I'll just say no.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's important as a business owner, because I noticed that I've been doing my business for 12 years, and in my experience, I've known that taking that opportunity to set those boundaries is critical, not
Yeah.
only for my effectiveness and my communication, and yeah, and it just really goes
Sanity.
down to the sanity, goes down to the self-worth and the
Mm,
confidence of like
yeah.
doing this is the best that I can be today with, the situation that I have at hand, and
Mhm.
I'm going to make the most out of today.
Yeah. 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 And when you're really clear, you actually start to attract more people. Like when you know who you are, because you're consistent, and consistency, whether it's in character or in advertising or in showing up, um, consistency builds trust. So
Mm-hmm.
word gets around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
consistency. That's a really good word.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us, is there something that you wanted to share for our audience today?
Well, I do have a "Whose Fault Is It Anyway" quiz. I've got two quizzes. That one is circulating, I think, on our Facebook ads, but there's also one on my website, and it will help you figure out how you identify with victim or freedom state, because it is super complex. And so if anybody wants to take that and just see where you sit on that spectrum, because we're all on the spectrum somewhere. And then if you want to go further, I offer an 8-week course, and you can hit me up. We're going to be launching our next course beginning of January. And I know we've got some promos on around it, but if you just reach out, we'll make sure you get on the list. And if you want to jump on a call and see if it's a fit. And if it's not a fit, I will tell you it's not a fit, right? Because I'm really clear. My course is not for everybody. It's not going to fix every problem out there. It'll fix a lot of them, but it is not a course that in certain situations people necessarily will benefit from. And I would have ideas for them to go elsewhere. So I will be really honest about that. And then the other thing that's really important to me is at the end of the call, or the end of the 8 weeks, I am not going to try to sell somebody a big coaching package. Like, this is it. This is my course. When you're done with the course, we're good. I'm not going to hold you hostage for life, because the course is set up so you can rinse and repeat. You find yourself in another situation, go through the steps again. You find yourself in another situation, go through the steps again. And you will always have it. So
Hmm.
it's a one-time fee for lifetime benefit.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
Hmm.
Okay. Excellent. Well, that's good to know. And it sounds like there's a lot of value there.
I sure hope so. I've been told by
This
people, yeah.
woman's delivering value, people.
That's right.
No doubt about
Yeah.
that.
But it's cool. I had a woman say, this week where we talked about, and I don't want to get into what all the weeks are because they do build on each other. She said, but when I went through that week, she goes, well, first of all, it really made me angry. And second of all, when I realized I was angry at and not the course, she said, I realized I had been playing the victim card with my husband and it wasn't fair. And when I had a conversation with him about how I was doing it and how I was manipulating him with it, it's changed our marriage, and she thinks it saved her marriage. And so, when you hear stuff like that, it's pretty cool. I've worked with owners of businesses and their staff and working through all of that as well, and then getting to that place of understanding. So it's certainly a rewarding work.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Alison, for sharing that. And
my pleasure.
yeah. And there's, maybe those of you that are watching have been, jotting down some ideas or things that you could actually use in your own business and industry to create more of a shift. Obviously, internally is like really where it starts. The shifts that we make with that self-talk and those realizations, and just using the power of the pause, when you feel like that internal dialogue's coming up, or if it's with someone that you're conversing with, to just pause and, not go for maybe a judgment or, initial blame or whatever you might normally go to, but to, stop and take a moment and decide how you want to react.
Yeah. I had a woman on my podcast one time, and I'm actually going to do some work with her. She does ayahuasca treatments. So we're going to do one of those together. But what she said to me, and I've shared it with people who have OCD and struggle with a whole bunch of stuff. And what she said is a reaction only lasts 4 to 7 seconds. And so as soon as you feel like you're reacting to something, you've been triggered, like somebody's cut you off in traffic, whatever the case may be, your child has like broken something else, your husband left a toothpaste lid off, whatever it is. And you're like, ugh, take deep breaths, like 6 deep breaths. That will put you beyond the 7 seconds. At that point, you're at choice. So anything that happens after 7 seconds is based on story you're telling yourself. And so if you can breathe until that 7 seconds is up, that emotion is now gone, and you get to go, okay, do I want to be angry about this now, or do I want to have a good day?
Yes.
Yeah. But it is remarkable how well just that little technique works.
I'm going to use that as a parent.
Have at her. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
it's
good.
pretty
As a
remarkable.
parent and an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, one of my people that I was working with has OCD, and they've started implementing it, and now they're able to drive to work a different way. And for years they've driven the same way. And if they have to take a detour or something, they start panicking. And now they're actually able to drive a different way. And so it's effective. It's cool. It's easy. I like effective, easy, and cool.
Yeah,
just like,
me too.
that should be the way life goes. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, so definitely some nuggets of wisdom that I've learned from you, Alison, are, the clarity, developing the clarity, and then also hiring a coach, someone that can help activate you to get to that next level and monetize, and, creating that flow so you can really utilize your mission to the best, be your best self in different situations, so that you're not getting stuck on all these obstacles that come up in life that can take us down. For sure. Yeah. Well summarized. All right. Well, definitely take this opportunity to connect with Alison and take her quiz and check out her program. And thank you so much for sharing your insights today. My pleasure. Thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in to The Dynamic Entrepreneurs. Have an incredible day.